and that was what he wanted when he made the movie. He wanted to make this movie that everyone would enjoy and everyone would feel comfortable, or what, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, that's really profound for such a shit movie.
Yeah, it is.
Talk to the hand.
What's in the box?
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Anyways, that wraps up everything I watched this week. That was everything you watched, right?
Yeah, that's everything that
Well, I
had.
guess
Yep.
there was the big one that I watched this week. You've seen many times, but for the first time ever, I watched The Room this week. So we talked a little bit about this in an older episode, basically because of The Disaster Artist, which is now
Right.
released, and I'm really excited to watch that. You said you've been excited for a while, right?
Yes, I'm actually super, super excited that you watched it for the first time, and I kind of just want to like pick your brain apart a little bit about your thoughts on this movie. I'm excited to ask you some questions, and I'm sure you have some thoughts about it.
Yeah, so it's weird because since you mentioned it when we last talked, I kind of got this like mini obsession for The Room and for The Disaster Artist. And and I wanted to save watching it until, right before I knew we were recording so that everything would be fresh. The thing that's interesting, and I think a lot of people are going to get this now if they see The Disaster Artist without seeing The Room, or even for me, like just seeing The Room and knowing, The Disaster Artist and everything else. It was impossible for me to not be so focused on all of the backstory while I was watching the movie.
Okay.
So I hope that makes sense. Like I just couldn't help but think of like all of the other, like the kind of like the novelty of The Room.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, which I guess it makes me a little bit sad, but I feel like that's the majority of how, like, people hear about it for what it is, and then even with all the Disaster Artist exposure, just because the first time that I think I watched The Room, I heard a very small inkling about how bad of a movie it was, and then I downloaded it or whatever and watched it, and I was like, holy crap, this really is that bad, and then, I think from there, you start researching some things and whatnot, but yeah, so for you, you're saying, it was just, you're thinking about all the Tommy Wiseau and James Franco stuff,
Right,
and just how
right,
ridiculous the movie is.
Yeah,
and I understand.
Okay, so I have a question for you because I remember you saying in the last one that it was a movie that kind of like that you like to show to your friends or show to people. Is that right?
Yeah, any chance I get, I'll sit somebody down and watch it with them.
So I want to know, like, how do you pitch it? Do you pitch it as just it's the worst movie ever, or do you ever like just kind of
Okay,
keep it casual and be like, I want to watch this movie I heard about?
I know. I do let them know what they're in for. Like, for example, I showed Darren, one of our friends, like, I introduced him to the movie. I've introduced I think one of my exes, as well as my current girlfriend. Basically, I'm like, okay, so I want to show you the worst movie ever made. You're going to think it's very bizarre. You're not going to really know what exactly is going on. I don't tell them too much about the plot. And usually the last thing that I say is within the first 20 minutes, I think there are 3 sex scenes. So that's all you need to know about it. And we're going to watch it. And yeah, by the end, they're like, what the hell did I just watch?
Right. So, and now I kind of like that I can be a part of that club and can start showing it to other people too, because what a movie. Like, what a just bizarre piece of work.
Yes, it is.
I'm trying to think of where I even want to
So
start.
what are your initial thoughts? Yeah.
It's bad. Yeah, it's not good.
Right.
No, you know what? Honestly, like I guess the thing that like I can't stop thinking about is that I actually have a lot of respect for Tommy Wiseau for everything about like for the production of this movie, I guess, like for making it happen.
Right.
And I know, like I said, that's affected by all those other things I've seen now. And another thing I was thinking about while I was watching it is, and I wish I was trying to find it right before we started the show. I can't remember where I found a interview with Tommy Wiseau. Someone was asking why he went with the name The Room.
Okay.
And I don't know. Have you heard about it? Like, do you know like the backstory, I guess, on that?
Well, there's a couple things that I might know where you're going with this, but maybe not exactly. You're just talking about the why he titled it The Room.
Yeah, why it was titled The
Um,
Room.
I don't. No, I'm not sure. Go ahead.
From what I was reading, he was basically saying that he feels like everyone has in their head this room. The room is kind of like this safe place where you go whenever things are like you're aggravated or you're frustrated with anything going on like in your real life. Everyone has like this room that you kind of go to just like chill out, and that's kind of like your comfortable place.
Okay.
And that was what he wanted when he made the movie. He wanted to make this movie that everyone would enjoy and everyone would feel comfortable, or what, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, that's really profound for such a shit movie.
Yeah, it is. I think, man, he truly is playing chess when we're all just here playing checkers. Tommy
Right.
Wiseau, I think, is just before our time. No, but so I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like about the movie itself, there were a ton of quotes that I've heard people say or seen online that I had no idea were from the movie. Um,
Oh
I
yeah.
knew the big ones, you know what I mean? Like I knew like "Oh hi Mark," and things like
And
that.
I
knew,
did
like,
not hit her.
yes, yeah, I did not. Anyways, but there were a lot of other things. Tommy Wiseau's laugh. I don't know how I like missed that in all of
Oh
the
my gosh.
like clips I watch. There's just so many things like so distracting. You know what I mean? Even if there was a really great
Oh yeah.
story, it would have been hard
Uh-huh.
to get it because there were so many things distracting me.
Yeah. So did
The
you like? Was
football-
one of the things that you noticed well, okay. Yeah. Hold on. I want to get into the football. I'm sorry. Did you notice that he had to be dubbed over his dialogue though? Did
Oh,
it take you
yeah.
out of it at points where you can tell that it's not matching up, and they had to obviously
Yeah, and
dub it
he's
post production?
he wasn't the only, like there were a couple other like lines done like in post production, right? Like
I believe
especially
so.
I remember with like the flower shop. Like I don't even think that
The flower
I don't think
shop
that
scene.
clerk. I don't think she says words. Like I don't see her lips move at all, but she says like a few lines.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. Yeah, that was very bizarre. That actually, I think you're right. It would make sense that was done post production because of the way that their back and forth is so like it seems like something like that. But yeah, please talk about the football.
What like I don't know. It's cool if I just start like bringing a football everywhere and just kind of tossing it. Like, even if we're talking about domestic violence, I'll just kind of hey, let's throw the pigskin in. Like
Yeah, that was
I don't know,
Tommy
it's so weird.
Wiseau's idea of being American, basically.
oh really? Okay. Just you kind of like toss the ball in your hands. I guess. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much better now that I know that's the reason. Yeah, it was just so bizarre. Like,
So, yeah.
what were you gonna say?
Well, okay, so, like your initial thoughts, it's bad. Tommy's very bizarre. And I guess, like, so, I wanted to ask you if you thought there was any chance that this movie, if done the right way, could have been a good movie, or do you think that
Oh,
there's
man.
absolutely like no redemption? I mean, with the plot and the characters.
I don't think there is,
I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think from the get go it was just doomed.
but in a sense, I almost feel like if take that story that he has and just make it as bad as possible because you know what I mean, like trying to make something great out of that story and out of that script is just not worth it. It's not going to turn out the way
Yeah.
you want it to. Like just
Yeah.
make it the worst movie ever.
Right.
Which is also weird to me
So,
because like and I don't know if you'll know this or not, but is The Room like the actual movie The Room, was that what Tommy Wiseau like envisioned? Was that his like his passion project and that's how it turned out, or I don't know, did it get twisted by producers and whatever, like things like that?
from my understanding, he pretty much had complete control over everything.
Uh-huh.
And then I was gonna go into some trivia about the movie, and one of the little facts about it is that it's pretty well known that upon its release, after it actually all the editing was done and people saw like what it was, because when you're filming the movie, you have an idea that things are bad, but until it's all put together, because things are filmed out of order and editing's done, whatever, sounds put in, stuff like that, green screen effects, you don't know what the overall thing's gonna look like. So people knew while it was being filmed that it was bad, but it was Tommy's vision, so they're just gonna do it, whatever. But I guess it's pretty famously known now that after it was done, Tommy, it was very much serious at the time. All the crew members say when he was filming it, it's 100% a serious movie. But after it was received the way that it was, Tommy Wiseau essentially has come out and said like, oh no, it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be that bad. It's supposed to be a comedy. Like I was trying to make a really bad movie, but we all know the truth,
Yeah.
So he can say that, whatever. We all know it's the worst movie ever made, not intentionally. But and I don't, if he was intentionally trying to make it like that, it wouldn't have come out that way. It probably would have been good if he was trying to make a bad movie or something. Just knowing Tommy Wiseau.
Right. Okay. And what you just said, that's exactly why I asked that, because that's what I was thinking. If it was something that wasn't the way he envisioned it and it got all distorted, like so many movies have, that happens to them, because I wanted it to be more like what you said, like that was his vision, that was what he wanted from the movie. I was hoping, that he didn't have something else in mind, and because of everything else we got The Room, I was hoping it would be
right
what he wanted. It really is like such an interesting piece of work, just because of everything. Oh, and you know what, really quick, you've said like a couple times in this one and the last one that there's 3 sex scenes in the first 20 minutes. There's 3 of the most just awkward, weird, odd sex scenes that I've ever seen in the first 20
minutes. A lot of man
minutes.
butt.
Yeah, a lot of man butt. Yep. Got to see some little taint. Yep. I didn't expect that.
You do.
But,
no.
But I saw
and he's very high up on her body too. I don't think he knows where her vagina is.
Yeah. It's in the belly button area, right?
Right.
But yeah, very bizarre all around.
And then so I just want to say really quickly, little trivia things, just a couple facts about the film. Denny, who plays, the character Denny, the child who knows what the fuck's going on with Denny. The scene with him and Chris R is hilarious. But Denny actually, after the movie came out, Tommy Wiseau said that his character is supposed to, he's supposed to be a mentally challenged character. But during filming, the actor that played Denny didn't know that.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I think it just turned out that way. And Tommy said, no, yeah, he's stupid, slow, whatever. But then he's like, what the fuck? You didn't tell me that. And then I guess in one of the scenes, excuse me, the guy that plays Peter, I think, the therapist, I guess he has a concussion, from a real life concussion, and he's touching things in the scene and rambling, and I guess it was just left in the movie. But he has a concussion. And then lastly, whenever they filmed the nudity scenes, instead of being a closed set, which is typical for nude scenes, Tommy Wiseau insisted that it remain open on set while he films his naked ass. So that is the beauty of The Room. I'm really, really glad that you got to watch it.
But I have a question. When you were talking about the child, the actor that's playing the child, how old is that guy? How old is he in the movie?
That's a good question. You know what? I don't know.
He looks way too old to be like a child.
Doesn't he?
You know, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even look like a teenager. Like he looks.
No,
like
he
a
doesn't.
Man. He looks like a.
He looks like
man.
a small man. He looks like a small man. He does. He was born in 1977, so that puts him at. God, is he 40? He's 40, right?
Yeah.
And then The Room came out. No, that can't. So what age does that put him at when The Room came out?
I don't. When did The Room release?
That's what I'm looking up. Hold up. So it was in 2003. So 14. So okay. So he was 26. But 20. But
20.
Okay.
That's too old to be playing. I don't know.
Right. Whatever he was.
Right. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I watched it. Because I talked about how I've seen clips,
Yes.
and I don't think I could make it through the whole thing. I'm glad that I watched it, and I think I'll be able to appreciate the Disaster Artist a little bit more.
Right, that's what I was just about to say, and now we'll be preparing ourselves very excited for the Disaster Artist, because when I first saw The Room, I had no idea that there would be anything like this coming out, and as you got to watch The Room, you got to be probably just more and more excited to watch the Disaster Artist.
Yeah, and like I said, when you were talking about it, I just got this like mini obsession, and I just Like, just had to know everything about the room. I think that's all I have for the room. Did you have anything else?
Yeah. I did cover it in a last one or one before or whatever. So I think as far as these two combined, I think I covered. We'll probably get into it more, talk about the disaster artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for now, I think we're good on Tommy.
All right.